After witnessing the way that the Trump administration has made an entire spectacle of how they have decided to welcome this group of South African refugees, the Afrikaans, if you are still pro-Trump, and you're trying to convince me and any other person of color that you are pro-Trump while simultaneously not being a racist, you're a fucking liar. And one thing that I cannot stand is somebody who's going to lie in my face because you're insulting my intelligence.
It's like we're living in Twilight Zone. I don't get it. We're gonna deport people. We're going to snatch them up from their homes, regardless if anybody shows proof of who they are and anything else. Like, ICE agents doesn't have to prove who they are, and people don't have to prove if they have citizenship or green card status or anything that protects them to stay in this country. Sometimes you could be a U.S. citizen and get deported on accident, I guess. And then even when you find out, I guess it's just above our heads now. On top of all of this, we're now giving refugee status to white South Africans. What the fuck is going on here?
What's up, YouTube family? Welcome back to my space. This is Evans Raiola. Guys, you all know what has been happening in the United States after the President of the United States, Donald Trump, mentioned that he'll be allowing white South Africans, the white farmers, the white Afrikaners, to come to the US. There will be permanent refugees in the US, and people have been taking to the internet to complain about this issue. Many of those being Black Americans who've been struggling for so many years in America. They've not been privileged, and for the first time we're seeing white settlers being brought in to the US from Africa. These same people that Trump claimed that they are facing genocide attempts, in South Africa, which of course is not real. The President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, and the High Court of South Africa recently mentioned that what they are doing is to try to ensure that there is equal distribution of resources in their country. For the longest time, white Afrikaners, who are actually the descendants, of the apartheid leaders, have been enjoying private lands in South Africa for the longest time. They only make up 7% of South Africa's population, while yet they enjoy a lot of private land, up to 72%, while the black folks, who are actually the most, or rather the majority, who make up to 90% of South Africa's population, get only 4% of private farmland. So what the government of South Africa was trying to do is ensure that these private lands are divided equally, to the citizens of South Africa, because for the longest time, these white farmers have been enjoying, since they are the descendants of the apartheid leaders. So guys, there's been a lot of complaint online, especially from Black Americans who've actually been living in the US their whole lives, and some of them actually have been paying taxes and they've raised their kids there, but actually risk to being deported. In the first 2 weeks of Donald Trump's administration, he mentioned that there will be strict rules, to deportees, to actually the settlers in America, and he mentioned that he'll actually deport a lot of black folks, and we saw them, a lot of people being deported outside of America. So this has come with a lot of complaint. What's the exemption with these white South Africans? So guys, I wanted to watch this video of Black Americans complaining of Trump's decision to just give these white settlers space in their country, and they're actually going to benefit and even get citizenship. Guys, I wanted to watch these videos of people complaining. Once the series of videos are done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch this together, family.
After witnessing the way that the Trump administration has made an entire spectacle of how they have decided to welcome this group of South African refugees, the Afrikaans, if you are still pro-Trump, and you're trying to convince me and any other person of color that you are pro-Trump while simultaneously not being a racist, you're a fucking liar. And one thing that I cannot stand is somebody who's going to lie in my face because you're insulting my intelligence. You actually think that I'm stupid enough to believe whatever it is that you want to feed me. I can't get over how our government made an entire spectacle of receiving this group of white foreigners. I can't get over it. I can't get over the fact that it was our tax-paying dollars, both documented and undocumented, because even if you're not documented, you're still putting money into the economy. You're still paying taxes for items that you purchase. It's our tax-paying dollars that help set up this whole spectacle of receiving these white foreigners. I'm not going to call them refugees, because how are you going to be a refugee when you were the oppressor in South Africa? You were the oppressor in South Africa. While being the minority, you and your race owned 70% of their land. But you want to come over here and call yourself a refugee? Nah. So the fact that these white foreigners are coming in, right? They were met with press. They might as well have rolled out the fucking red carpet for them. We had our actual government officials taking time out of their busy day with the state that America is in today. They decided that it was more important to welcome this group of white foreigners. And the problem is, this would not happen if it was any other group of people. And you know that. You know that. If it was any other race, you think they would be getting the type of welcome? The welcome committee, the welcome party? You think that they would have been welcomed with open arms this way? No, it wouldn't have been this big ass spectacle. I want you guys to look at this.
The first group of white South Africans granted refugee status has arrived in the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau greeted them at Dulles Airport in Virginia on Monday.
Look at the greeting.
The president made it clear that Afrikaners in South Africa who were the victims of unjust racial discrimination would be welcome to come to the United States.
President Donald Trump has blocked mostly non-white refugee admissions from the rest of the world. But in February, offered to resettle Afrikaners, the descendants of mostly Dutch settlers. The move has drawn criticism from Democrats and stirred confusion in South Africa.
Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed.
Trump made those comments on Monday when asked why South Africans were being prioritized. He did not provide evidence.
White South Africans.
It's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white.
South Africa maintains there is no evidence of persecution, and that claims of a, quote, white genocide in the country have not been backed up by evidence. The once ruling white minority has retained most of its wealth amassed since colonial times and still own 3/4 of private land, with about 20 times the wealth of the black majority. That's according to international academic journal The Review of Political Economy. But the claim that white South Africans face discrimination has become an established trope in right-wing online chat rooms, one that's been echoed by Trump's white South African-born ally Elon Musk. A spokesperson for the U.S.
You see what I'm talking about? He suspended the application process for all non-white people. All non-white people. Meanwhile, this group of, and you see what they called them, Afrikaans. The term that's only for the white people, right? They were met with open arms. These are people that descend from German and Dutch descendant. Okay? They're welcome in America. And you saw what your president said. They're being killed. Meanwhile, here in ICE custody, a Haitian woman died. We still don't know what happened to her. You have people that are being picked up off the street for random shit and being taken into ICE custody where they're literally dealing with some of the most disgusting conditions, the living conditions. You understand? You have a government, an administration that's not only just taking you out and saying that you have to leave, but they're purposely bringing you to El Salvador to go and work in that mega prison. We have a 19-year-old Venezuelan boy that's in El Salvador right now when he was supposed to be deported to Venezuela. Why is he in El Salvador? Why is he in El Salvador? We have a 19-year-old student that's currently in ICE custody right now. A little Latino girl, Hispanic woman. You understand? Because they decided to take away DACA. So now she is undocumented. You understand? And they're refusing to let her go. God knows what they're doing to her. We had a green card holder, this Indian man. His name is Kunal Abori, 37 years old. ICE took him into custody for 2 months, and he's documented. But you saw the way that those white foreigners were being accepted here on American soil. Whose homes do you think that they're taking? Whose homes do you think that this administration is moving them into? Huh? Because I'd bet money it's some of the homes of the people that have been deported already. I'd bet money. Y'all can say it's a conspiracy all you want, but in order for us to make space for the ones that you want, you got to get rid of some, right? To the point where this administration has even gone as far as giving you guys incentives to self-deport. If you are literally building an administration that is so dead set on immigration and all of that, why are you actively taking in people? And we can't help but notice that the people that you're taking in look very different from the people that you're kicking out. The people that you're kicking out, they don't look like those that just got this whole welcome committee from America. And these are people that are being killed, that are being targeted, are dealing with racial injustice. So all of the reasons in which you are saying why we should accept this group of white foreigners, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because the same migrants, the same immigrants that you're kicking out actually deal with all of those fucking problems. Right here in America. Right here in America. And you got the nerve to try to say that oh yeah, like that's the reason they're dealing with a racial injustice. The white farmers are being killed. What about the black people here in America that's being killed? What about them? What about the children that are being poisoned right now by fucking Elon Musk and his fucking 35 gas turbines when his company only had permits to run 15? What about that? Literally filling our historically black neighborhoods with populants, with pollutions that can cause cancer, asthma, respiratory illnesses. What about that? You talking about you care that they're getting killed. If you really cared, if this administration cared about motherfuckers getting killed, you'd pay attention to the ones that are being killed right in front of your front lawn. You paid attention to that first.
Trump is bringing 49 white South Africans to America. So this is the best case scenario that can happen to them, okay? They don't just come to America. They come to Atlanta, Georgia specifically, okay? All 49 of them park their cars downtown and go inside a Waffle House because someone told them that this is the best place to go to experience the cuisine of the city. Feel me? They go in there and there's only 3 Waffle House employees. Not 5, but only 3. 2 of them called off, whatever, right? They get in there, all 49 of them, and they get the true Waffle House experience. You feel me? And they get mad. They get upset. And what do they know best? What do they know best? They start saying anti-black shit. They start saying racist shit. They start acting like they run the place. And guess what happens? As Hot by Young Thug and Gunna is playing in the background, these 3 Waffle House employees beat every single white South Afrikaner in the fucking Waffle House. All 49 of them. Kick them out the damn Waffle House, right? So as these 49 white South Africans are demoralized, they go back to their cars. But what do they see? Each one of their cars busted in. Every single window busted in. And not only that, every single car is booted. Every single car is booted. And it takes $200 to unboot each car. And as they're processing everything that's going on, some water boys walk past him and start roasting him, making fun of them, clowning them, posting them on TikTok and everything. And as a result of all that has happened on this one trip back to America, to Atlanta, they not only leave America, they don't even go back to South Africa. They go to the fucking Netherlands. They go back to the fucking Netherlands. They start calling themselves what they are, which is Europeans. They start learning Dutch again. And they go back to where their racist ass ancestors used to stay at, which is the fucking Netherlands. These niggas is not South African. They're not from there. They just circumvent the whole fucking process and go back to the Netherlands. This is the best case scenario that can happen. So what I'm saying to the GOP, to Trump, bring these niggas to Atlanta. Bring these niggas to Waffle House. I want this shit. I feel like this shit will actually happen. Make it possible. Make it happen.
Black people here, most of this was about the fact that the demographic changes in America were staring white folks in the face, right? That in America, white people are scheduled to become a minority in this nation by the year 2045. So what they're trying to do is to reverse some of that as much as they can so that they can extend the white majority in this nation further. Right. So if they can expel 11 million or however many alleged undocumented people from Latin America from here, they will do that. If they can import more people from more white, countries like the Scandinavian countries, like some of those Eastern European countries, my man Games and Drinks talks about, like some of those South Afrikaners who are coming here, they'll welcome those folk. But they're trying to mitigate the fact that in 2045, white people are scheduled to become a minority in this nation. This is why you get the push to get rid of abortion in so many Republican-led states. This is why you get the push for banning no-fault divorce, because they want to keep these women in marriages to make these women have babies, with white men and boost up their numbers. They are deathly afraid of becoming a minority because they are afraid of what they've done to minorities, the minorities will do to them.
Hey guys, just a word of advice to the white people that came from South Africa that are coming to America, the land of the free. You're coming to America. Welcome to America. I heard you're here now. Here's a word of advice from me to y'all. I know y'all going to be settling in, I heard it's going to be in Idaho and North Carolina. That's where y'all going to be settling. Just a word of advice. The black people here are not like the black folk that you're used to in Africa, the ones that were working for you, the ones that you were talking down on. The African Americans over here, you better not start with them black folk over here. You better watch your back. They're different. You're not going to have maids. You're going to do your own dishes. You're going to clean your own house. You're going to cook your own food unless if you can afford to go to the restaurant and eat some restaurant food. That's just a word of advice. I mean, I just thought I would just, be nice enough to share that little bit of info with y'all. Because in Africa, y'all got maids cooking for you, cleaning for you, doing your yard, doing everything for you. We don't got none of that over here. Because over there, you were paying them little money, change money. Over here, you want a maid, you're going to pay them $20 an hour or more. Because it's a job. Anyway, I just thought I would just share that information with y'all.
It's like we're living in Twilight Zone. I don't get it. We're going to deport people. We're going to snatch them up from their homes, regardless if anybody shows proof of who they are and anything else. Like, ICE agents doesn't have to prove who they are, and people don't have to prove if they have citizenship or green card status or anything that protects them to stay in this country. Sometimes you could be a U.S. citizen and get deported on accident, I guess. And then even when you find out, I guess it's just above our heads now. On top of all of this, we're now giving refugee status to white South Africans. What the fuck is going on here? Like, what the fuck?
In the event that this piece of information has not been made available to you or you just don't know, I'm here to inform you that this Sunday, the Trump administration is set to receive a group of South African refugees. These are white South African refugees, okay? This group is going to comprise or consist of 49 people coming in from Johannesburg. They will be boarding a private jet, landing in Texas, where they will then be transported to their new homes. You mean to tell me that the same administration that has been going out of its way to deport the brown and black migrants that we currently have here in America, to the point where they are bribing people to self-deport with the incentives of getting $1,000, okay? They're making sure that they are deporting our migrants without due process. Okay, they're not even making sure that any of these people are actual criminals, going out of its way to deport the already existent migrants that are here in America, only for them to show us that we've always been accepting to migrants. They just gotta be, you understand? They gotta be the color that we want. You know what's the really funny part is that Trump and the administration is stating that these individuals, these white South African refugees, are dealing with racial injustice and discrimination. And that's the reason why they are opening America, to them. Do you want to know what is the racial discrimination and injustice that these white South African refugees are claiming? It's black South Africans fighting and claiming their land back. That's the racial discrimination. That's the racial injustice. The fact that the black people are claiming their land back. Let me give y'all a quick little history lesson. So during colonialism and the apartheid, right, the white settlers were able to come in and nearly take over all of the land in South Africa. By force, by the way. I want to make it clear. By force. Even at the end of apartheid, which ended in 1994, a group of people that made up less than 10% of South Africa's population owned nearly 70% of its land. You know what that meant for the black South Africans? They were pushed into poverty, okay? They were pushed into barren land. They were denied the right to buying and owning property. So land reform was always the goal. That was always the goal. Although every time they made the attempts to move into that direction, things were blocking it. I know you know what I'm talking about. So now politicians and movements are demanding for what they call land expropriation. Yes, land expropriation without compensation. Basically meaning you will return this land to its rightful owner and we will not pay you for that. You should have never had it to begin with. We're not giving you any type of compensation for the land that you should have never had to begin with. I understand back in your day, you guys were used to getting slavery reparations. No. So now because of these movements and these demands for basically give me my shit back, right? These white South African farmers are now claiming to being targeted and persecuted for being white. I can't even. And now the Trump administration is set to receive these refugees, and I use that term loosely because they're not refugees. You understand? So the administration is set to take them in under the claims of their being racially discriminated against and profiled, trying to paint these white South Africans as victims. Whole time, they've been benefiting from a system that they stole from by force. There's no racial discrimination here. There's no racial injustice. This is actual justice. The true owners are finally getting their land back. That's justice. And those white settlers, descendants of white settlers, should stay where they fucking are and move with the times. You're kicking our people out that literally contribute to our economy, but you want to accept these motherfuckers?
Donald wants to relocate white South Africans to the United States, offering them refugee status. You are not dreaming. He has signed an executive order in the White House. Donald wants to stop US aid to South Africa because the South African government, according to Donald, is illegally seizing land. South African President Ramaphosa, of course, denies it and says, "We will not be bullied." Donald complains that whites in South Africa, who are settler colonizers, are being discriminated by the blacks. Donald has now successfully proven that his government is going to be a white ethno-nationalist one, maximizing the best interest of white people at expense of everyone else. Very grandiose and desperate, but good for the global south, because if everyone maximizes the best interest of their ethnicity, well, the browns of the world outnumber the whites by a lot. I don't think he thought that far.
Did you guys see this? The South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa, he gave his thoughts on the 49 Afrikaners that came to the US. Listen.
It's a group of South Africans who are demonstrating that the changes and transformation that we are embarking upon here, they are not favorably disposed to it, and that's why they are running away. So as South Africans, we are resilient. We don't run away from our problems, and we shouldn't run away from our problems. And if you look at all national groups in our country, black and white, we've stayed in this country because it's our country and we must not run away from our problems. We must stay here and solve our problems. So when you run away, you're a coward. And that's a real cowardly act. And I expect every South African to stay here and we work together and we solve our problems. We've got the most beautiful country in the world, and I can bet you they will be back soon because there's no country like South Africa. Yeah. Thank you.
What do you guys think about this? He said that they did not embrace change. Instead, they were running away. He called them cowards, and he even bet that they will return. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below.
So it looks like the Afrikaners will arrive from South Africa next week. Now, there are already Afrikaners who live in the United States of America. And everyone wants to know, what are they running from? They're running from black folks. The white flight is a thing here in the United States of America where when there are too many black folks around, the white folks up and move, right? Well, this is an international phenomenon. I'm not quite sure why they do that, though, because they come to where other people are and then they want to shuffle. White people do this thing, and this is a cultural thing. This is a real tradition, okay, obviously, because they like to move people around. Now there's white flight because the thing they're running from is black folks. They're running from black folks. That's what they're running from. They're running from black folks, and they're coming over here to meet more black folks. People voted out their own people. So that's what happened. So the Latinos, a certain group of Latinos had enough votes to vote out their own people so that Trump could bring in some Afrikaners and claim they're, refugees. They're running from something. The way y'all need to stop falling for this racist stuff is crazy. Y'all don't have enough black friends. Y'all really don't have enough ethnic black American friends. Y'all don't. Y'all don't. And it shows.
Family, the one thing that doesn't make sense is that on the first weeks of Donald Trump's administration of his second term, he mentioned that there'll be a shutdown, to refugee programs, and he's gonna make an exemptions for these Afrikaners for the first time. We've seen strict laws being set up in America. They've ensured over time that they are deporting a lot of people who are in the US illegally. And for the first time, we're seeing white people who are actually enjoying life in South Africa, getting an opportunity, you know, to just get this big dream of getting America's citizenship. Why is it so easy for them? And that has been the biggest complaint for people all over the world. Why is it easier for the white South Africans? Why is it easier for them? Well, themselves are enjoying a lot of these privileges in South Africa, because you understand they are the descendants of the apartheid leaders they've been enjoying for the longest time in South Africa. As I've mentioned earlier, when it comes to private lands, they are the guys who've been getting the majority of these lands. You know, they've been enjoying so much over the years. The one time that they just want an equal distribution of these resources, they are going all mad and saying that there are attempts to their lives. Trump has given them an opportunity, terming what is happening in South Africa as a threat to the white to the white South Africans, and he's mentioning that it's not about race, and we know very well how much Trump is always obsessed with matters race. He's mentioned that it's not about the race, it's just about humanity and getting to see these white South Africans getting deprived of, you know, what they deserve. And they claim that these are actually a genocide attempt, but this has always been a lie. The claim of white genocide in South Africa are not real. Even the High Court in South Africa has ruled that. You know, they were flown into America they flew in an American jet, you know, to DC. 49 of them, the first bunch, you know, of white South Africans settling in America. These people are not from a war zone. They are not from famine. But because Donald Trump said they were being targeted, the only reason as to why we are seeing them, you know, getting the privilege of staying in America is just because Donald Trump thinks they are targeted. These people are not in any war zone. These people are not facing famine. You know, these people are actually not in any risk, but we know other countries that are in risks of their lives, that are in a war zone, but we've never seen such an opportunity in America. What is happening in America? Some people are linking this to the relationship that Donald Trump has been having with Elon Musk over the years, since he took over for the second term. We've seen Donald Trump actively, you know, being a good friend with Elon Musk. He's even taken an opportunity to market Tesla during the days when Tesla was being taken down by Americans who are thinking that Elon Musk is actually destroying, you know, their market. Is destroying their economy, you know, with his relationship with Donald Trump. There's been a lot of mixed reactions. People are wondering since when has it been easy, you know, for people to get the citizenship of the USA this easy, you know? People are also saying that Trump mentioned that these white South Africans would be easy, you know, to assimilate, you know, in the American society. Is it because they are white men and women? What makes it easy for them? Because now there is any threat to their lives in South Africa. There is any genocide attempts in South Africa. All these that are being pushed right now in the internet are lies. People are wondering, why is it easier for them? Why did Donald Trump make it so hard for black settlers in America? Why were people deported? But now when it comes to these white South Africans, it's becoming easier for them. There are a lot of questions that are yet to be answered. And that's why black folks, black America, now people with the African descent in America are really trying to question the government of the day as to why these white South Africans are actually an exemption. And this just brings in a lot of questions. Is it about the race? You know, is it because they are white folks? Because when you look at them clearly, they actually have the European descent, the white settlers, the descendants of the apartheid, you know, they actually have the European roots, but now they have gotten an opportunity to be citizens in America. These people will be given housing, they'll be given phones, furniture, and a formula and citizenship. You know, where do you get these privileges easy in America? Guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this initiative that was started recently, and that more and more South Africans, white South Africans, are expected, you know, to land in America. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the same. Like this video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users. Guys, the goal of this channel has always been to speak about black stories, black history, and to ensure that black folks are empowered all over the world. Thank you guys, and kindly do consider subscribing to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and we cannot do it without your support. Thank you guys, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.